here in Redfern in the jurisdiction of the Media, Entertainment, Arts and Alliance. And with me right now is Ms. Jane Worthington. She is the Director of Program and Development for the International Federation of Journalists. Jane, we're here and once again our yearly donation for the Ampatuan Massacre journalist and family support, which occurred a few years ago, the massacre killing that happened in the Philippines. Jane, thank you for delivering that to the Philippines every year. Could you tell us more about it?
Well, the support for the orphans of journalists in the Philippines has been running over a number of years and actually began after the Ampatuan massacre in 2009. And it started as a response because journalists around the world were extremely upset and disturbed at what had happened there in the massacre. It was a deeply distressing experience for journalists everywhere around the world, the single largest assassination of journalists in history. And so what happened out of that was there was not only an emotional response, but a response that journalists wanted to help and support the families that were affected. Of course, the Philippines is known for the already dire situation affecting journalists generally. It has a high death toll of journalists anyway, but combined with that, you have this massacre. So you had 32 journalists killed in that massacre, mums and dads, some of them with many children. So these kids needed support. And so we worked together with the IFJ affiliate in the Philippines, the National Union of Journalists in the Philippines, which already had an orphan support program. So we began to support that program with the help of the Media Safety and Solidarity Fund, which was a fund set up by journalists in Australia and New Zealand to support the orphans of journalists and also journalists in distress around the world. So that education support began pretty much from 2010 and continues to this day.
I'm very happy to also introduce Mr. Philip Prattley from the Grace Hotel. They're also a Malaysian group. Can you tell us more, Mr. Prattley?
Well, look, the massacre was the most terrible thing to happen, and where would the world be without journalists? So we're very happy on behalf of the Grace Hotels to support this worthy cause. We run a press and journalist golf day each year, and the proceeds of that day are donated. So it's our pleasure, and we hope to be able to continue that into the future.
Also, Alex, there's also a program for children, is that correct?
Yes, so Alex Hearn, she is the program officer that looks after the Media Safety and Solidarity Fund for the IFJ. So she's actually seeing the funds go out and ensuring the funds go out to support these children so they get through school.
Do you have a message for the journalists also and after the children?
I think that the positive thing about the MSSF support that goes to the Journalist Orphan Fund in the Philippines is that it shows the solidarity that journalists have for one another across the region, and the support for the victims of crimes against journalists in the Philippines and across the region. So it shows a great sense of solidarity and a real kind of family within the media community across the region.
I mean, these children, when they lost their parent, they lost their primary breadwinner in these families. So without this support, they may have dropped out of school altogether. We've now got a situation where you've got these children now going on to university and having successful careers. And so to see that transition over these years is a really heartening thing. And these children are thriving with that support. They may not have got through school at all if it hadn't been for that support.
Do you consider this program very important from the Filipino Press Group Sydney? Is it very important that we continue this yearly?
Absolutely. I mean, it's as Alex said, it's the solidarity from journalists that makes this fund so special. and for our colleagues in the Philippines to know that there are journalists around the world supporting them is a really important message. So, you know, and it's important that we keep the support going, because the future is for these children, otherwise would be very challenged. So,
on behalf of the International Federation of Journalists, do you have a message for journalists around the world in particular, and how they should be when they are in situations? How should they call? Is there an SOS number to call around the world if they need help?
The IFJ is always about promoting the safety of journalists and calling on governments and employers to ensure that the journalists are protected in the first instance, that there are protections there for journalists. But those kind of protections can't be guaranteed. So we also ask for journalists to have safety first and foremost in their mind when they're planning their stories. And that's not to say they don't do the stories, but to plan and prepare around how they handle particularly tricky stories, because when you're dealing with mafia, corruption, these tricky issues, the rules of the land may not necessarily apply. So journalists need to be ethical and professional and conduct themselves in a way that ensures not only their safety but also the safety of their contacts, their family and the broader media community. So it's really up to all of us to work together and advocate on better safety situations for journalists.
In behalf of the Filipino-Australian, which is an Filipino-Australian magazine, and also the Filipino Press Group Sydney, of which I belong, and also Ancaladas News and the Canberra Reporter, we would like to thank you once again for being a good team, all of us. The recipient, the donor, and the facilitator, all of us. Congratulations.
Thanks to the Filipino media community in Australia for supporting this important
Thank
matter.
you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.